This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
What's up? It's your boy, The Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
Somebody out there deserves to be recognized. And the Men's Room knows just who it is. So to you we say, bottoms up, sailor. You're the toast of our shot of the day.
Drink time it is, and as usual, we head to the drink desk and Stephen Throwhill to find out who we're toasting.
Yes, indeed. First, a quick aside here. I got a text from my wife. Says, hey, you pass a Christmas card. It's the only mail people ever send each other anymore.
Yeah.
Well, baby, if it makes you feel any better, Ted's the only one who doesn't care. Miles and Mike still have our children's beautiful faces on the fridge.
I get excited when I get a Christmas card. I'm like, somebody remembered me.
You're only wasting Ted's time, babe.
Man, I got a decent amount of cards. What are you two still doing holding on to them? I'm not the wrong here.
You're cluttering up his recycle bin.
Yeah. Oh, man. So don't you worry about it. You do your Christmas card thing. You take Ted off the list. She heard you. All right, today we chose an unidentified man. What's that?
That's my refrigerator.
Oh, look at that.
See? There's a picture of him.
Yeah, there's my kids right there on the fridge.
On my refrigerator.
Oh, look at that.
Right by the weed being burned.
I know. Today we toast an unidentified man from Chicago, Illinois. Now, earlier this week, this dude and a friend / accomplice, they stole an SUV, and then they shot a guy in another vehicle. Well, the SUV sped off with the police in pursuit. Eventually, the SUV crashed. But the chase, no, it was not over. The guy managed to climb out of the wreckage and run away on foot. He eventually ducked into a Mexican restaurant. He ran through the place with the idea, much like the movies, he'd escape out the back exit. Now, the good news is that the restaurant was mostly empty. In fact, there was only one occupied table. The bad news was that that particular table was full of police officers who were there eating lunch. So as you might imagine, when they saw the guy, without asking him any questions, they immediately got up and ran after him. And they caught him in the alley behind a restaurant. Now he's been charged with attempted murder and possession of a stolen vehicle.
Jesus.
What are the odds of that, man? There's one occupied table in the restaurant. It's a bunch of on-duty police officers.
In uniform.
Right. So as soon as you run, like, what do you do then? Just keep going, man. So we pour this booze and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy.
Yummy.
So over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies. Down the hola bichola.
The Men's Room presents Profile This.
Hey, it's Stephen Throwhill. Could you please tell everyone how Profile This is played?
I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real-life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes a story a story. Hello, Conrad. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola.
All right, Conrad, you understand how this here game is played?
Sure do.
Fantastic. Then you know you have your choice of one of three stories. We have the wonderful world of drugs. We have Bite Me. In other words, what did someone find in their food? And finally, interior decorating, where you guess the foreign object that ended up on the inside of someone.
The song always gets stuck in my head. Let's do interior decorating.
You know, you're not alone, man. Miles and I get the song stuck in our head every day at this time, and then we'll go out to smoke at the commercial break, and you realize, standing next to a bus stop full of people, we're both kind of like, in the butt. Not a lot of people understand that. All right, here's your story. It's kind of similar to yesterday's, where a woman has been only fined after police officers found a little something hidden inside her vagina. 39-year-old Cora Freely, she was being strip searched by officers after she was arrested following a street brawl. Now, the court heard that she was caught when an officer spotted something, quote, protruding from the defendant's vagina. And Freely was caught with that something after the arrested on suspicion of assault. Now, no charges were brought against her for the assault because police discovered she was the victim of the assault, which figures into the argument later, her lawyer saying she shouldn't even have been in a police station in the first place. Now, the prosecuting lawyer said, quote, while in custody for that offense back in February, the search of the defendant was authorized by the custody sergeant, and while searching the defendant's bottom half, they could see something was protruding from her vagina. As she initially lied to officers, said it was a tampon. Her lawyer, however, whose name is, Ted, you're going to appreciate this, Paul Stanley.
I see you got something in your vagina.
Her lawyer, Paul Stanley, said, quote, she'd been arrested on suspicion of assault. That's why she found herself at the police station, but that allegation went nowhere. She was quite quickly deemed to be the victim in that case. She was subsequently released without charge. Like I said, she was only fined because, again, she shouldn't have been at the police station in the first place. That's the argument. All right. But what was found in the old prison wallet? Was it a gun, a crack pipe, weed, or a syringe? So gun, crack pipe, weed, or syringe, one of those was found in the hoo-ha.
The syringe is yesterday, so...
doesn't mean it's not today.
Ted?
Yeah, I'm sticking to my guns. I said I might go against it, but for this week, I'm sticking to my... no pun intended, but thank you, Mike. Sticking to the guns. I'm saying she had a gun in there.
Okay. That was a horrible choice of words. Sticking to my guns.
Yeah.
Maybe my love gun.
Sounds like it was sticking to me.
Bum, 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 bum.
I'm sticking with my guns here, too.
You going to go gun, Conrad?
I think I'm going gun.
Okay. Where was this? Do we know?
It was in her...
I know. Where geographically speaking? Do we know that much?
Somewhere in England.
Somewhere in England.
Oh. Not a lot of guns in there.
You know what? I'm going to go weed. I'm going weed. That's what I'm saying. All right, Conrad, final answer, gun?
No, I think I might change it. Guns are hard to come by in England. Let's go weed.
Weed? You're going to join me. Join me with a weed. All right. We're going to find out what she had tucked up there in the prison wallet. Was it a gun, a crack pipe, weed, or syringe next?
That was a tease.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Start summer up by mixing things up with top paint and stain brands at Lowe's. Shop HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, Cabot to find the perfect pop of color or classic shade you've been looking for. And don't forget to prep your deck for the season with reliable wood stain and sealer. Now's the perfect time to complete your paint or stain project. Lowe's, all things summer, all at the right price.
Take the next step toward the career you want, be it business, cybersecurity, healthcare, or more. UMGC can help you get there. No application fee when you apply by August 31st. Visit umgc.edu, certified to operate by Chev.
The men's room returns with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
All right, categories interior decorating on profile. This woman was fined after officers found something inside her after being involved in a street fight. She was the victim in the assault, so she was just fined and released. But either way, she did have something inside her. Was it a gun, a crack pipe, weed, or a syringe?
We will start with you, the Ted Smith. I mean, I know you weren't counting on, I know you hope against all hope that if a woman has something hidden in her vagina, that it is a gun.
A gun.
It was not a gun. I'm sorry. And Conrad, you agreed with Miles. Once Miles said, wait a minute, this is England. If it's a gun, one, they're hard to get there. You'd be in more trouble. But weed was the guess.
So I'm guessing. Yes, all right. Yeah, the sticky icky.
It didn't go in that way.
I don't think I smoked any weed in England. I know it's got to be there.
She had it.
You know it's got to be there, but England, most of Europe, man, they're more the party drugs.
Yeah.
That is known for that.
Now for all TV news all the time, it's time for TV Time with Ted.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box,
Armageddon.
the Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
All right, your choices today, Seth Meyers.
Seth Meyers.
We have the Jimmys.
Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon.
You have RuPaul in for Jimmy Kimmel.
All right.
James Corden.
Sure.
Ted Smith.
Is it Ted or is it late night?
It's right there in the title. All these guys have teams of talented writers that help them come up with their monologues each and every night. It is up to you to determine, is this an actual late-night joke and from whom, or could it be a The Ted Smith original?
Johnson & Johnson announced that a booster shot of their vaccine provides a robust increase of antibodies. That's like Chef Boyardee saying our sauce is now robust in flavor.
Fallon.
Ted Smith.
Fallon.
Johnson & Johnson announced that a booster shot of their vaccine provides a robust increase in antibodies. Kind of like Chef Boyardee saying our new sauce is robust in flavor.
There's a story about an incident on a flight from New York to San Francisco which involves a passenger who was accused of snorting cocaine on the flight. They did make it to San Francisco in 20 minutes.
The Ted Smith.
Yeah, I'll say it's you.
RuPaul.
There's one incident on a flight from New York to San Francisco which involved a passenger who was accused of snorting cocaine. They did make it to San Francisco in 20 minutes. So, you know.
A bear in Connecticut was caught stealing a box off a person's porch. Police are reminding people that only you can prevent porch pirates.
God, I hope that's you.
Yeah, that's a
good one. Good one.
According to a new study, antibodies from llamas may prevent infection from coronavirus. And of course, now you can't find any llamas at Costco.
Jimmy Fallon.
Seth Meyers.
According to a new study, antibodies from llamas may prevent infections from coronavirus. And of course, now you can't find any llamas at Costco.
Llamas are a-holes.
Yes, they are.
Stick with alpacas. OnlyFans decided to drop their plan to ban sexually explicit content. So between this and the new Spider-Man trailer, what a week for teenage boys.
Fallon.
Myers.
Fallon.
OnlyFans decided to drop their plan to ban sexually explicit content. So between this and the new Spider-Man trailer, what a week for teenage boys. You know what I'm saying?
That's got to be crazy. I mean, the internet was just in its infancy of like America Online and stuff when I was in chat rooms trying to find porn.
So much harder then.
It was, man. You had to go to a lot of sites. A theme park in Japan recently shut down a roller coaster that was capable of reaching speeds of up to 112 miles per hour after 4 riders reported injuries. Apparently what happened was the roller coaster reaches speeds of 112 miles per hour.
Seth Meyers.
Fallon. That's Myers.
Theme park in Japan recently shut down a roller coaster capable of reaching speeds up to 112 miles per hour after 4 riders reported injuries. Apparently what happened was the roller coaster reaches speeds up to 112 miles per hour.
So there's going to be a new series about Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton, right? It's on FX, right? So they did OJ right? The American crime story or whatever.
All right.
I can't remember what the second one was. Because I know for sure the Simpson trial. Maybe this is the second one.
All
right. Which, by the way, they did a pretty good job on that one. I like that one. So this one's called Impeachment, American Crime Story. So the writer left out a scene where Monica Lewinsky flashed her thong at Bill Clinton. For a lot of people to understand this, thongs were a massive thing back in the day. All the girls wore them.
Yes.
And it was like a thing. If you could see a lady's thong, it was like sexy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There was other terms that I won't use right now. So anyhow, the original writer, he goes, look, I'm going to leave that part out that she flashed him in the Oval Office with her thong because I don't want to re-traumatize Monica.
Okay.
So she made him put it back in.
Good.
Yeah. She said, I'm incredibly experienced in understanding how people see this story, so ultimately I felt two things. One was I shouldn't get a pass because I'm a producer, and two is that it seemed unfair to the team and to the project that it would leave everybody vulnerable, which I kind of respect it. She's like, look, I'm a producer on this. Obviously, I had to write, sign off on my story, but, number one, I don't think she cares. So that poor woman's been torn through the mud and everything else. But yeah, it's like that's part of the story.
I would think from her point of view, like, that's kind of the least bad thing about it all. So,
What if Bill and Hillary will sit down and watch that show?
Bill will.
Hey, look at me.
I look awfully good right there.
I don't know. And oftentimes when presidents leave office, there's like these rose-colored glasses. Like I think just growing up where I grew up and working labor unions, you know a little more about the Clintons.
Right.
Right. So it's like, yeah, it's not like people now are like, oh, the Clintons, especially if you're a Democrat, like the Clintons. Like, yeah, it wasn't all of us cracked down.
You're right.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff in there. You know what I mean? Hell, they broke our heart when they signed NAFTA. When he did. But either way, I think it'll be a good show. And that's the other thing, too. Like, for Monica Lewinsky, right? What was she, 19 or 20?
Yeah.
She's an intern to the most powerful man in the world. Like, she hooked him up. Like, I don't know.
She hooked him up.
Let this poor woman live already. Either way, that series debuts September 7th on FX. I believe that's right after Labor Day. So get out there and enjoy that. Watch the president get along in the office.
I believe that's the tagline.
Watch the president get
along. Crime story.
Let's see. This shouldn't shock anybody. Did anybody in here watch Dexter?
I watched a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Like the first 2 seasons, maybe.
So I never watched Dexter. I watched the last episode because I had just started dating somebody and they were like, hey, I've got to watch this. It's the last episode. And I remember how pissed she was when she watched it. Turns out she was right. Showtime's finally admitted, Dexter, the series finale, kind of sucked. The Showtime's entertainment president said, quote, Dexter is a jewel in the crown of Showtime, and we didn't do it justice at the end, and it's always been a burr under my saddle. This guy's got to be
right
in the
70s.
We always wanted to see if there was a way we could do it right, and it took a long time to figure out. It was for a long time if Michael C. Hall was willing to revisit the role. The possibility of a spinoff or a continuation of the upcoming revival has not been ruled out. Basically, they're just like, look, we're going to try. The expectation's so high, the series is so special to the network and me. The future will take care of itself. So the 10-episode Dexter New Blood, that premieres in November if you want to check that out.
Is it the same guy I have no idea what this whole spinoff deal is. So
basically, that's what happened. It took so long. Like, I think they ended it and were like, hey, that sucked. Like, we could have written this better, right. Blah, blah, blah. But the guy, Michael Hall, who had played Dexter, was like, I'm not going to sign on this and that. Like, let's, get
it right.
Right.
Then offer me a fatter check.
I mean, you'd have to wonder, too, look at The Sopranos. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to have a prequel.
Correct.
But if Gandolfini was still alive, I don't know. Do you think they would have gone back and revisited it?
I mean,
I don't think they would have.
They have a couple of more options if he's still alive. I mean, they can pick the show back up or...
But, I mean, the ending of Sopranos, that was disappointing. I mean, the last season, we'd come in every Monday and be like, Jesus, why am I still watching this show?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the finale's never anyone's favorite episode. typically you have ones that you remember, but I didn't get like, that was the greatest finale ever. I mean, maybe there's one or two, but for the most part, that's not normally the case.
MASH had
There's a
finale.
lot of hype, and there's a lot of expectations. And then you go to the concert, and it just sucks.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I guess for Sopranos, it just left so many questions.
Which was fine, because I did it in an open-ended way, where there was a potential. The guys want to come back and do the show again.
That's a business decision, right? Like, we'll leave it open-ended in case we want to redo this. Everyone's still alive. Or if we don't redo it, you can surmise that everyone's dead. It doesn't matter. But
let's see. Honey Boo Boo. I think a lot of people remember her. Well, she's 16 years old now, or she'll be 16 on Saturday. She just did a photo shoot and a feature for Teen Vogue. And actually, I mean, right, she was a kid when she was doing that show and stuff. And you gotta respect. I get where she's coming from. She said, my mama did not name me Honey Boo Boo. My name is Elena. Which that is. She said, though, also, like, because of her show fame, that she doesn't trust people at school. She said, to be honest, I don't have many friends at all. I don't trust nobody, so I don't really have friends. And remember, too, like, she was a little kid that was doing these beauty pageants. Yeah. They make a show, and then her mom, Mama June, like, basically, like, here comes Honey. But it was more about the family. You kind of lost track of that kid. There were so many kids. The mom ended up on drugs, and I want to say was dating, like, a guy that had been convicted of, like, touching children.
Yes.
Yeah, she was.
I mean, just awful stuff. So obviously they brought that up. Like, and I mean, right, look, she's still a child. She's 16. And listen to that. Like, when my mama got real bad with her drug use, I did not know where it's going to end up. I'm proud of myself how far I've come. So, like,
sure, your mom didn't do that show for you. She did it for her. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Correct. And she was a kid. Like, if kids are having fun, generally, like, they'll go along with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. That's the whole thing. But yeah, Mama June made that decision for Mama June. Yeah. The Kardashians' mom, any one of these clowns, dude. It's like, right, they sign off on this because they get paid.
Yeah, exactly. So, either way, that's Teen Vogue. Seems like the right spot for Elena to be. And at this point, like, if you go to school with her, try to be nice and don't call her Honey Boo Boo. She don't want to hear it, man. Doesn't have time for any of that stuff. Let's see. What are you going to watch tonight? You know what? A little late night. We talked about him earlier today. Watch James Corden because he'll have on Terry Crews.
Terry Crews. All right, thank you, Ted. We appreciate it. You are listening to The Men's Room.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Start summer up by mixing things up with top paint and stain brands at Lowe's. Shop HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, Cabot to find the perfect pop of color or classic shade you've been looking for. And don't forget to prep your deck for the season with reliable wood stain and sealer. Now's the perfect time to complete your paint or stain project. Lowe's, all things summer, all at the right price.
Take the next step toward the career you want, be it business, cybersecurity, healthcare, or more. UMGC can help you get there. No application fee when you apply by August 31st. Visit umgc.edu. Certified to operate by Chev.
Room returns with Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
All right, here we go. Man dies after using epoxy adhesive instead of a condom while having sex with this girl. Meanwhile, two brothers open a restaurant in something that for 4,000 miles you used to take a whirl. Kentucky school superintendent up on the Times did not know what furries were all about. Connecticut woman is arrested in Yellowstone for taking her own geyser route. And a taxi driver robs a bank, then gets back in his own taxi and drives away. It is time for your headline.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's my car.
Our top story, we go to India for an unfortunate story of a man passing away during sex. He was seen by multiple witnesses going into a private room with his ex-fiancée, clearly about to get it on. The hang-up came when the pair had no contraceptives to use, but our hero had a master plan. Instead of any other tried-and-true method, he applied epoxy to his genitalia to keep the army at bay. This led to a fatal organ failure after the act, and he did sadly pass from those complications.
He put epoxy on his penis.
He put epoxy on his penis.
They've been snorting it before that to catch a buzz.
They did say that they had a bit of an addiction problem.
Yes.
I mean, it'll keep everything in, and that's also part of the problem. So,
what's epoxy again?
Epoxy is two different chemical substances. I don't know what they are, but they're coming together, and it is one of the strongest bonds that you can create. It's a glue.
Right. It's a glue.
Yeah.
That you would use, like, in construction and stuff.
Yeah.
Or a lot of times you hear guys at Boeing talk about epoxy. Like, they're not using glue, they're using epoxy.
You want something to not ever come apart, you use epoxy.
So he was trying to keep, like, a level of attention?
No, he was trying. They didn't have a condom.
To prevent pregnancy.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Right. Oh, yeah. It's actually becoming a thing to line floors with epoxy these days. Puts that nice little shine on it, and they can, like, mix some different colors and stuff in there with it.
Did it in my basement.
I know exactly. All right, thanks,
it's almost
Mike.
a kind of acrylic sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. In other news, Yellowstone continues its campaign to stay open despite the stupidity of its tourists. I have no idea how this place is still allowed to have tourists in it. A woman from Connecticut was arrested and now faces jail time for wandering off the beaten path. She left a boardwalk in order to get a better look at the thermal pool and geyser nearby, despite the guardrail and multiple signs telling her not to do so. Mm-hmm. It's also worth noting that the ground that was underneath that particular boardwalk is fragile and thin, with delightfully scalding water underneath waiting just below the surface. She faces 2 weeks in jail and a $2,400 fine.
Mm-hmm.
And the story detailed the story of the last guy that unfortunately passed away due to his own stupidity in Yellowstone as far as the environment goes. This guy found like a hot spring that he was going to go and dip in, and the water was 212 degrees.
Which is boiling.
It is boiling point. Like, gang, they're not doing it just because they like the flowers and they don't want you to crush them. They also don't want that, but it is a dangerous place that we bring tourists.
Freedom's
It is, and for whatever reason, like, I feel like people do this stuff all the time now. Not to that extreme. They're like, don't cross here, don't do that. And people are just like, I'm going to do it anyhow. And it's like, right, but then you can't tell the line between super dangerous and...
Right.
Like, it'll be all right.
Look.
Just follow the rules when you're in a park.
You can give people warnings, you can explain the signs. People make their own decisions about that. They pass. You're like, okay.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, that's why everyone's telling you this. There's
right.
No other reason.
Goodness gracious. Strange situation in Kentucky. Local school districts are dealing with the dress code issue. Apparently, there's a handful of students complaining of a new fad slash obsession with some of the other students dressing and acting like cats. The students are coming to school dressed with cat ears, tails, masks, and even leashes to emulate the animals, and even getting into character by hissing and scratching other students. The superintendent says they'll be putting a stop to the situation as it violates the school's dress code.
Oh, God. That's what it is. Okay.
We all knew that kid in school. The wolf kid.
The wolf kid.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
You ever had a wolf kid?
No, I did not have a wolf kid.
Oh, yeah. He was part of the wolf clan, man.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I mean, the group. Yeah. A man in Connecticut has landed himself in jail for being bad at his job. He caught the bug of robbery and decided to rob one of the best places to do so, a bank. They will never see that coming. To make matters worse, security footage now shows that he actually pulled down his COVID mask. It's just, he didn't wear like a ski mask or anything. This is legit just his face mask that he wore to protect against COVID. And he pulled it down in order to tell the teller to put money in his backpack before he fled in, you guessed it, a taxi cab. Officials were able to work with the local dispatcher to track down the car, and the man was arrested.
Because it was his taxi cab.
Right.
And you had on a mask.
Right. I had a mask.
Like, it was helping out. And you just said, the hell with it.
I mean, there was the brightest image of his face right there in plain sight. Because, banks, they've never been the target of theft before. So they wouldn't have any sort of any surveillance or security that would keep them from that. Great work. And then as if for headlines with that, Mike Hawk is out.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it. More Men's Room is on the way. The Men's Room Happy Hour is next exclusively on the Odyssey app with the return of Dirty Big Dummy.
Yes, indeed. In the meantime, we be all about this bitch for 90 seconds. So until then, please do what you do best. And for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network. Oh, man! A Double Flush production.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Start summer up by mixing things up with top paint and stain brands at Lowe's. Shop HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, Cabot to find the perfect pop of color or classic shade you've been looking for. And don't forget to prep your deck for the season with reliable wood stain and sealer. Now's the perfect time to complete your paint or stain project. Lowe's, all things summer, all at the right price.